Hi there, can you tell me who you are?
Hi, my name is Scott Brubaker. I'm the Deputy Director of the Division of Solid and Hazardous Waste at the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection.
Great. Scott, you today were among a number of DEP dignitaries, as we'll say, including the Commissioner, Commissioner Martin, who attended ANJR, the Association of New Jersey Recyclers, annual, semi-annual meeting, at which they celebrated and DEP celebrated the 30th anniversary of the passage and the enactment of the recycling law in New Jersey, which put us at the very forefront of mandatory curbside household recycling. And the commissioner was here to reaffirm your department's support for recycling, and in fact, he had some information about some new initiatives, which he hopes to strengthen what we've got going here in recycling. But what I'd like to talk to you about today is something that's of great interest and importance to municipal and county recyclers, and that's the recently enacted law that modifies or updates the electronics waste law. And you had a lot to say about it today, told our membership, and I'd just ask you if you could hit some of the top points here today for the video.
Okay. Sure. The DEP intends to fully implement and enforce the amendments adopted on January 9th to the Electronic Waste Management Act. We have been hard at work developing an implementation plan and an implementation timeline to do so, but which we expect to roll out shortly and expect to fully implement and enforce those amendments, which we believe strengthen the Act, strengthen the enforcement authority of the department and others, cause the manufacturers to have to recycle all the e-waste that's of the covered devices that is generated. We don't just get an obligation now and meet that obligation and they're done. There will be a process where they will have to recycle everything that comes into the system, no matter how much that is. And because the new law covers additional consumers, the new law calls them these additional types of generators, meaning schools and several layers of government, levels of government, we expect there will be a substantial increase in the amount of e-waste that will need to be recycled in the coming months and years because of the new law. The new law gives the department substantial new enforcement authority and also requires reporting from different participants in the recycling of e-waste, not only the manufacturers, but the collection facilities, the authorized recyclers all have to report on what they've recycled during the year. The DEP is especially proud of the enforcement of the e-waste law that we have executed so far in 2017. We've issued multiple 30 or 40 formal notices of violation to manufacturers for failure to comply with one aspect of law or another. And our goal through that is to ensure that all the manufacturers are on a level playing field, that all the manufacturers carry their own weight as far as recycling the devices as the law requires. Recently, DEP has, in the process of reviewing the manufacturers' collection plans for 2017, we have recently provided the manufacturers actually with a target number of collection sites that we are requiring the manufacturers to operate in the state to meet the definition of sufficient and convenience collection opportunities for the residents to drop off their electronic devices that are required to be recycled.
And this is to fix a problem before where not every part of the state was necessarily sufficiently included in their plans, right?
There were significant gaps in the state in the collection network or the collection site coverage. And we saw significant input from the county recycling coordinators. Some counties are just wanted more collection sites. Some of the counties were satisfied with what they were. Some counties want a combination of collection sites and then collection events that they sponsor on one weekend a month or one Saturday a month, where residents can just bring their devices in. They don't want to operate a permanent site, but they seem to be it seems to be working in their county to offer these collection events. So we took all that input in, and we generated a letter to the manufacturers informing them that in the aggregate, manufacturers need to provide, I think it was 31 additional sites over which they'd already submitted in their plans, bringing the total number of collection sites to well over 300 that would be operating in the state to collect e-waste as sponsored by the manufacturers. So we believe, and I've concluded, that will in fact be a sufficient and convenient network of collection sites for the residents in New Jersey, as the law requires.
Now, Scott, one of the things that folks outside of the day-to-day recycling world may not be aware of is that the change in the law also increased the number of products or worn. Tell us how did it expand?
The law now requires, the new amendments require the manufacturers to be responsible for recycling printers and facsimile machines, two devices that the previous laws had not identified as covered electronic devices. As of January 9th, those devices are now covered under the law. They are the responsibility of the manufacturers to recycle.
So we've got worn-out TVs and computers, and now the other two, and the universe of people that have to comply now is larger too, as you mentioned earlier, because now you said schools, I think, are now under the law, and
schools, municipal, and state government offices are defined as consumers in the law, which means their devices, those devices that are covered under the law, are the responsibility of the manufacturers to recycle.
Great. Well, one last thing. I appreciate the time you're giving us today. The timetable. When can we see? When does this all go into action? What DEP is doing now?
I informed the group today, without commitment, yes. And I will use those words, without commitment. But I would anticipate that the pledge is that when we do come out with an implementation plan and timetable, we will distribute it immediately to all interested stakeholders. My timetable, I anticipate we will have something along those lines in a matter of weeks for everyone's interest and observation, rather than months. I see this as a week-long process, weeks away. We know everyone's waiting for this out there. DEP is anxious to implement this new law. There's just so many good things about it. We're anxious to get it into place, and we know everyone else is out there too. So, well, there have been skeptics who thought it would take months or maybe years before this would all hit the road. So it was welcome news that you brought to the organization today, and I know they can't move fast enough on this. So we really appreciate the DEP's efforts in this, and in the support that the commissioner has given to the changes to e-waste all along in the process. And we want to thank you, Scott, for your time here today. Yeah, the commissioner was very supportive of this legislation. I know he was speaking to the governor about it and supported it, and I know he's a big reason why it got signed in January. That's great. Scott, thanks again. Thank you.